Success Radio USA's Profiles of Success is brought to you in part by the 365 Grand Club, Colorado Springs' only elite urban downtown club. Don't like having to park downtown? Don't like paying full price for great dining? Hate working out in crowded gyms? Use your 365 Grand Club card and forget all of that. Enjoy the benefits of downtown with ease and prestige. Get your club card today by visiting www.365grandclub.com. That's 365grandclub.com. Go there today and join the club, the 365 Grand Club. And now let's join your hosts of Profiles of Success, Chuck Bader and Jerry Evans.
Welcome to Profiles of Success. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Chuck Bader.
And I'm Jerry Evans. It's always a pleasure to have each and every one of you out there listening to us, watching us, whatever the case might be. And hopefully we are here to entertain you. That's what our goal here is in life, you know.
Educate and entertain. Remember we did that word 3 weeks ago, yes.
That's exactly right. Anyway, we do want to thank you for joining us here on Profiles of Success. You can find us by going to our Facebook page at Success Radio USA or by going to our website at successradio.us. We would invite you to register with us also there for free. You'll get a free ebook download as our gift to you. That's right. And now that you are one of those who take success seriously,
yes,
you can subscribe to Success Radio USA for only a few dollars a month and have total access to our show archives on demand and our Success Library of ebooks, which are also free to our members. So it's less than $4 a month?
Less than $1 a week, yeah. $3.99 per month.
$3.99 per month. And, you know, that's just chicken feed, right?
Well, for investing in your education, that's not, it's
not even chicken feed.
Yes, it's pocket change.
That's pocket change. There you go.
Yeah.
All right, I like it.
Yeah, sure. So we make it affordable for anybody wanting to, you know, just starting off or whatever, make it affordable for you to start getting the education and direction that you need.
Yeah, absolutely. So I agree with that.
We are here to serve. We really are.
Aren't we wonderful people?
We're working on it. Well, speaking of wonderful people, our guest this week is Frank Wallmueller. I met him back in December of 2017, and he's just become a good friend of mine, and we kind of work together, collaborate on some things. But as our friendship had developed, I just thought he had a very interesting story that we should share with our listeners here.
Well, that's a good idea. You know, yes. When somebody has a good story, you seek it out and you let them present it to us.
And that's what a lot of people ask me when they hear about the radio show. It's like, well, what do you guys talk about? And I said, the basic premise is we don't want to take the high-level people, not that we can reach them, right? Tony Robbins, whatever. But we want to get what you would call common man, so to speak, the ordinary people, for lack of a better term, who are living out what they want to make a life of happiness and service and enjoyment. And so the premise is we want to get people from all walks of life, whether they're, you know, major business owners or, you know, single-person entrepreneurs, to share their stories so that people who are in the same category, I want to be a real estate agent, I want to be an insurance guy, can hear from people doing it right now to figure out how did they get from working from somebody to having their own business or to at least having control over their work and life schedule. So that's one thing Frank has done very well over the years.
Well, Frank, we welcome you to the program, and let's get after it. And what kind of background do you have, and where were you born, and all that other stuff?
Well, let me first say that I'm honored to be on the show. Where I was raised is on a remote 100-acre farm in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada.
Canada, wow. Are you actually Canadian then?
I am Canadian.
Wow. Well, welcome.
Don't hold it against me.
Okay, can I tell the joke about how Canada got its name?
Certainly.
Okay. You know, they threw all the letters into the hat, and then they pulled them out, and they went C-A-N-A-D-A. Is that correct?
That's about right, yeah.
Okay.
Never heard that one. That's good.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just it popped into my head, and I was like, oh, I love that joke. But
that is good.
Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So what year and so remote farm? So
I actually grew up speaking German.
Wow.
On the farm, and then when I reached the age of 5, my parents thought we should move to the city. So we did, and I entered kindergarten speaking only German.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
So, but, you know.
But did you have to learn French Canadian then, or?
No, French was a side language you learned because we're in the in the country capitals.
Right.
And we were right across the street from Quebec.
Oh, okay.
So we kind of had to learn French growing up.
Okay.
Don't quiz me on it.
Okay. Believe me, I won't. I'm not that gifted in French.
Well, my favorite memory was about my parents learning English by watching TV.
Right.
TV shows, like I Love Lucy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was perfect for them because Lucy was so demonstrative in her expressions.
Yeah.
Vita Vita Measurement. All you got to do is remember that episode.
Yeah, so through that show, they learned English, and I learned English, of course, going to school. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. That's great. Wow, that's quite an opening. I mean, you don't really think about the fact that somebody coming from Canada is brought up learning German. I mean, that just seems. How in the world did that happen? I mean, I guess I'm wondering, because for a lack of knowledge, I'm not sure how that could come about.
Well, my parents were married in Austria after World War II, before they emigrated to Canada in the 1950s.
All right.
So in Canada, my mother was a stay-at-home mom. And later, when we moved to Florida, it was mainly because of her health. She managed a motel on Singer Island with 12 units.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's somebody who comes from a foreign country, comes over here, and all of a sudden you're learning how to run a business. You know?
Yeah.
It's not your background. That's one thing I want to point out here is that you don't need to have a background of connections and silver spoon and great amounts of money. You just have to have basic principles to go out there and give it a shot, you know?
Well, my parents taught me how to work hard. They were very hardworking folks, and they passed that on to me. So anyway, my father actually learned to be a baker in Austria. And when they moved to Canada, he got allergic to flour.
Oh, wow. That would be quite a challenge.
Alrighty.
Yeah. So he had to find a new field of employment, and he ended up working as a hardwood floor layer in Canada.
That's a tough job.
Yeah.
I admire some people who can do that kind of handiwork. That's amazing to me. So.
Yeah. So, but after moving to Florida, his primary role was to run the motel. And he was very handy.
Nice.
Yeah. You always need one of those at a hotel, especially a small unit type place. Yeah.
Right. It was actually that he passed those traits on to me. And basically what he taught you is, don't fear something new. Just do it and fail and do it again until you get it right.
That is huge advice. Because this is one thing that holds so many people back is they're waiting, they're studying, they're learning until the time is right and everything's done. It's like, no. So many examples of people that just have a pretty good idea of what they want to get into and just pursue it.
Wasn't Albert Einstein like that? He said, I had all these failures and finally, achieved a certain amount of success.
Well, Edison is one of the more famous ones.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, 10,000 experiments to find the
10,000 experiments. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
For the light bulb,
That's persistence.
Yes.
It sounds like that's what your father and your mother did. They just were persistent and kept going on with it, right?
Well, I mean, back in those days, you had to do or you didn't survive.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
They don't have everything we have available to us today.
Yeah, you have a lot of assistance from the government or friends or whatever, family maybe. So you had to pretty much do it on your own is right.
That's right.
Yeah.
So let's pull out a little lesson from Tony Robbins here. One thing Tony Robbins talks about on one of the big factors that's going to help you succeed or not succeed is what you're doing. Is it a preference or is it a must? Would you prefer to have your own business? Would you prefer to have a nice lifestyle and maybe put the work into it or whatever? Or is it a must where, like you said, you had to fail or there was no other option?
Right.
It's just severe consequences. And the difference is that if it's a must, like you have to do it, like for lack of a better term, running out of a burning building, you'll figure out a way to get out of that building. As compared to if you just wanted to leave the building for lunch or whatever, and you had maybe some obstacles in the staircase, who knows what, but you may not leave the building. So it's too much trouble to get out,
Right.
But that's just one of the analogies is that, if you have to do something, if failure is not an option, like on one of the space capsules, then you got to find a way. And your parents did that.
That's right. And I've done that a few times myself.
But what a great blessing. And this is why we point out your history and your background, because you came from an environment where your parents were entrepreneurs. They were business owners. And so as a kid, what a privilege for you to pick up the lessons.
That's right.
So.
Okay, so go on from there. What took place? How long did they have the hotel or motel, I should say, and how were you affiliated with it, and where did you progress after that?
Well, we moved to Florida in 1978, and I was around 16 years old, and I was just going to high school for the first time. It's an interesting story, really, because my whole life in Canada was about hockey.
Gee, that's a shock.
Yeah, it's surprising, isn't it?
They play hockey in Canada? Wow.
So my whole entire life revolved around playing hockey. And unfortunately, because of my stature, and it was so small compared to my peers, the last year in the league, I sat on the bench. And it was no fun at all. So when my folks said, we're going to move to Florida, I thought, my goodness, this is awesome. Perfect timing, because I had nothing left in hockey.
Nothing to lose, yeah.
And I thought, Florida, that's a great place. Got beaches. I remember my first month there, I never wore a pair of shoes. I hung out on the beach and actually got a lot of colds because it was so hot outside. It was in the middle of the summer. And so I'd go into the grocery store where it was freezing, and I was going from hot to cold, hot to cold, hot to cold. I literally wore a pair of, shorts, and that was it. No shoes, nothing, and I just I was getting cold all the time, and I was getting a cold because of it.
Okay, we're going to continue with that story, but we got to take a break right now. But it's kind of fascinating to hear how you went from that cold to hot to cold, and we'll get more into that when we come back, okay?
So make sure you're listening to the show. Now your job is to get your pen and paper out there. When you hear our sponsors, write down the number, write down the website while it's there for you. And then someday you're going to need the services, and we want you to contact them because they support us. We're supporting you, and we're also helping out through the Listen Foundation. That's right. 30% of our proceeds go to help kids here. We'll be right back.
Rena, how is a car like a computer?
I don't know. How?
If you don't do routine maintenance, they get gooped up and fail early. By performing routine maintenance, your system performance will be improved, keep it secure, and find issues while they were small.
Well, Elk Creek Computers will perform routine maintenance on your computers for $99 per system. Call us at 719-576-4122 to schedule an appointment today.
This week, my name is Harley Mitchell. Next week, I'm not sure yet. Maybe I'll use your name. You see, I'm a cyber criminal, and I steal information that defines who you are. Things like your driver's license number, your birth date, your home address, your office address, your social security number, your medical information, insurance cards, business licenses, and if I can get it, your birth certificate. If I can get one, I can get the rest. It's not personal. It's just business. Once I have your information, I bundle it with others and I sell it. Not just once, but over and over and over and over and over.
Due to recent massive data breaches, your personal information is now available for cyber criminals like Harley to buy and sell to their underworld counterparts for profit. Bad people with bad intentions hiding behind your identity. Don't be fooled and lock down your financial life. Use the professionals that Fortune 500 companies use, ID Shield and Legal Shield. It costs less and reaches further. Don't lock down your life. Call Andrea Wacker and get the right protection for the right problem. Andrea Wacker is your Lady of Justice. Call now at 719-243-3174. That's 719-243-3174. Click the Tune In Follow tab and have instant access to your favorite IB programming. IB is your Internet Broadcasting Network.
Success Radio USA.
Welcome back to Success Radio USA Profiles of Success. I'm your host, Chuck Bader.
And I'm Jerry Evans. We want to thank all of you for joining us here on Profiles of Success. And remember, you can find us by going to our Facebook page at Success Radio USA or by going to our website at successradio.us. And we certainly would like to invite you to register with us there for free.
Free.
That's right, F-R-E-E.
That's a good word, good four-letter word.
I love that four-letter word. And you will get a free ebook download as our gift to you. So, now that you are one of those who take success seriously, you can subscribe to Success Radio USA for only a few dollars a month. How much, Chuck?
Less than $1 a week, $3.99 per month.
And have total access to our show archives on demand and our Success library of ebooks, which are also free to our members.
And that's the way to get started. Those ebooks are very important. So, education is very important.
You know, it helps out a lot, and you can, get a clear view of what we do here on the program. And I think it's incredible information that you can use.
And that's one thing we want to point out when we're talking about this is that for people who are entrepreneurs, business owners, people who want to grow and develop and have a greater quality of life, the learning never stops. And the unfortunate thing is most people after college or high school, that's when the learning stops for them. I've got the education, I've got the job now, just go to work and go through the routine. No. If you want to be a leader in the field, and especially nowadays, things are changing and evolving so quickly, you've got to keep up with the latest literature on self-development. So, and your business and whatever specialty you're pursuing. But point being is that the learning never stops.
You're absolutely right. And our guest today, Frank Wallmueller from Equity Realty, Pursuing New Horizons is the name of the program today. And I tell you what, you were pursuing new horizons when you went from Canada down to Florida. You didn't wear any shoes. You went from hot to cold, cold to hot, and everything like that. Let's continue with that because this is something that I think is a key element as far as really bringing out the overall view of how you were able to get to where you are today.
Well, actually, I wanted to kind of interject because as I'm thinking about this, like we're kind of missing a big piece here of how your parents got there. So you're saying your parents had migrated from Austria, came to Canada, and were speaking only German when they arrived in Canada.
Right.
So as we look at the process, as they have a farm in Canada, they moved to the city. Who inspired them? What made them think about leaving Canada, going to Florida, and starting a hotel?
Well, as I mentioned, my mother's health was quite bad.
Right.
She struggled with some health issues that the warmer weather was agreeable with her.
Okay. So that would explain why they go from Canada to Florida. But how did she go? How did they learn? Oh, they learned English on TV, so she picks up English. Mm-hmm. But what inspired her to start a business rather than work for a hotel?
Well, they had owned apartments in Canada, which they had to sell to move to Florida. So they'd already had their hand in that business. And, of course, they come from a family who do the same thing over in Europe. So it wasn't foreign to them. It was just a different country.
So that explains it. Now we're seeing the lineage and the heritage on this, is that your parents were not the first timers. They were carrying on a family legacy about being entrepreneurs.
Correct.
So for them, business was a language they spoke growing up then.
Absolutely, yes.
And then they passed it on to you.
And they understood that, my dad's business that he ended up working in laying floors, it was per diem work. It was, you get paid per square foot.
Okay.
So the harder you work and the more output you produced, the more money you got paid. And so that's, that was just natural instinct.
Mm-hmm. It's like a lot of the agricultural fields, the more cotton you pick, the more corn you pick, the more pickles you pick.
That's right.
And you get paid more if you produce more. So,
yeah. Correct.
So now we go back to your grandparents. Were your grandparents also entrepreneurs? I mean, how far back does it go where we can find out who the first entrepreneurs were in your lineage?
Well, I can only go back to my father's fathers.
Okay.
They owned a woodworking facility, but not they didn't produce things. They produced the lumber to produce things.
Right.
So they had a shop there that produced different wood products for carpenters and tradespeople.
That was all in Austria?
Yes.
Okay.
But still a business, though. Still a business mindset, not working for somebody, but owning the shop.
Correct, yes.
Okay. So for you, as far as you know, which we can say very honestly here, you've always been in an entrepreneurial mindset environment.
That's absolutely correct.
Okay. Nice.
Okay, so you're in Florida now. You're and how old are you? And are you helping your parents run the motel?
I was a teenager, for goodness sake.
Well, that's all right. You could have been making beds.
Not super teenager.
Well, I was going to say, you could have been there making beds, cleaning up the room and everything and whatnot.
Well, so when we first moved there, it was summertime, and I was enjoying the beach, enjoying the new lifestyle. And I started 11th grade there and went on to get my bachelor's degree in business. But to answer your question, yes, of course, it was expected of me to help my father help take care of the place. So, I mean, we moved furniture so much. Probably the reason why I have a bad back today.
That's understandable for sure.
Yeah, and we replaced flooring and, oh my goodness, we did so many things, repaired roofs and on and on. So I was quite involved.
But it gave you a good, strong work ethic, right?
Well, yes, he absolutely passed that on to me.
Yeah, okay.
And that's one thing you see from a lot of entrepreneurs like that, whether you're talking about a Walt Disney or someone else, is that they were in an environment where the parents put them into having to really work hard for a living to understand and appreciate what that meant. So that way, later on, when they go to become an entrepreneur and have to deal with the struggles and stresses of business, they have a good reference point. Right. And I think that is so important. So if you're a parent who is wanting to get your children in an entrepreneurial mindset, build that work ethic, because that is going to be foundational when the opportunity comes for them to pursue it.
That's right.
So, you said that you got a degree in business. Where did you go from there?
So after I graduated, I'd always had an interest in cars, which led me to work for an automotive paint shop as a sales manager. So that's where actually I met my first wife.
Nice. So you're kind of getting into it instead of just working for somebody, you're the sales manager, working on a commission type situation.
That's correct.
So so the more you produce, the more you pay it on a much bigger scale.
That's right.
So
picking pickles again is what he's doing.
Yeah, well, and picking up cars, yes. So nice. And how many years did you do that?
I did that for about, I'd say about 2 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then?
Well, and then, of course, I got married, and I ended up leaving that business and worked for several painting contractors, painting single-family homes and later high-rises. That was a way to pay our bills and make ends meet.
Were you on the outside in the high-rises?
Yeah, actually, I got as far as 8th floor. After that, it was a little too high for me.
I know I would be nervous, that's for sure. Okay.
I was laying flat on the cherry picker.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's a little high for me, too.
Yeah,
no, we did mostly interior work.
Okay.
Yeah, so... but my desire to be a business owner and pursue my interest in cars compelled me to open my first auto body shop in Lake Worth, Florida.
Nice. So you're the boss. You're in charge.
I was a boss. I was in charge. I was completely unprepared.
How so?
Okay,
because you come from an entrepreneurial background. I mean, some of this should have been very second nature, you would think.
Well, mainly because my education was in corporate level business, not small business. They are not the same animal.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. So it was a learning experience, to say the least. I started off with 4 employees right off the bat, having never had employees before. It was,
so you got to give them direction and so on.
Yeah, it was a challenge, I will tell you, for me personally.
Why?
Why? Because it's easy to be a one-man show and do your own thing, but to be responsible for 4 other people is a completely different thing.
Well, there's a lesson learned here, though, and that is the fact that you step out of your comfort zone, and you go into business, and all of a sudden you got these employees, and you're not only responsible for yourself, but you're responsible for them, and they're relying on you to make sure that they have a quality of life, and that in itself is I think a key example of leadership, and that's what you really need when you go into business. Is you need that leadership quality. It may be uncomfortable. It may be something that you didn't really bank on, but overall, I think it's a lesson learned.
Well, I will tell you, to be completely honest with you, I was not a good business owner. at least not in the beginning.
Now, here we got some good lessons.
All right,
so
here
why?
we go. That's what we want to expand.
So Frank takes the advice, right? He doesn't know all the stuff about a car dealership, but he steps into it 4 employees, taking the run at it, and all of a sudden, what starts happening? What are the challenges and obstacles? Here's what our listeners want to hear.
Yeah, that's right.
So I think the biggest challenge that I had, I had gotten a 6,000 square foot shop, 4 employees, and no business. I had to start from zero. It wasn't as though I bought a business and just kept going. I had to literally generate business to pay for our bills, to pay for the employees, and oh my goodness, that was an overwhelming feat. I did hire at that time a marketing consultant who helped me with advertising, but I will tell you that it was a struggle for many, many years.
For years. So how did you fund it initially?
Well, of course, my parents were very, very supportive of me. So that was a big portion of my funding.
Did it come from, I guess, the receipts from the motel, or, I mean, was it the woodworking business?
Yes. Again, my parents instilled me a lot more than just being a businessman, but also saving money, investing. All these things were put into me, some of which didn't come out till much later.
Right.
But this was all instilled as I was growing up.
Boy.
Now you see how important those lessons are to just be in that environment the entire time.
Exactly. So, of course, they put money aside, and they were very supportive of me, and they wanted to help me. So they were primarily responsible for helping me through those first few years.
And we're going to be back with more about your incredible story here to find out where you were at from that point and how we're going to get to today, because it's amazing to think about, all the struggles. And when you think about a lot of the people that go into business, especially small business, a lot of times they're not prepared because of the fact that they're looking at it and saying, all of a sudden I got all this responsibility. So it's fascinating to hear how you went through that sewing process.
And right now, your responsibility is to get your pen and paper out, write down that phone number, website, and contact the vendors who support this show. This is Profiles of Success. We'll be right back.
It gives clarity to problem solving. It increases production and focus on the job. It alleviates sleepless and restless nights and fends off stress and tension headaches. No, it's not the latest energy drink or health supplement. It's Legal Shield. Get peace of mind every day, every night, now and forever. Legal Shield. Get it.
To find out more about Legal Shield and how it can protect your family and your business, call Andrea at area code 719-243-3174. That's area code 719-243-3174. Legal Shield.
Is your business on Facebook? Are you frustrated with how your website performs? Do you have a focused and measurable marketing plan? Are you struggling in executing your marketing plan? Well, tune in every Tuesday to the Mad Marketing Show and learn from the people who are actually making it happen. The internet is a convoluted and busy place. Learn how to cut through the noise with the Mad Marketing Show. New episodes air every Tuesday on Success Radio USA at successradio.us. Find us on Facebook at Mad Crane Marketing and post your digital marketing questions. You can find us on SoundCloud, TuneIn Radio, and iTunes by searching for Success Radio USA or The Mad Marketing Show. You can also visit us on the web at madcrane.com to learn more.
Success Radio USA is always looking for ways to help you succeed. Whether it's offering a word of encouragement or sharing practical information that can give you the competitive edge. So you'll want to pay close attention to this. Our new sponsor, the 365 Grand Club, can give you the edge when conducting business in downtown Colorado Springs. You might want to entertain a potential client or just show appreciation to a loyal business partner. Either way, your new 365 Grand Club card is your passport to downtown Colorado Springs. Springs. Your club card gives you access to discounts, business perks, making new business connections, and the convenient private concierge service that makes getting around town hassle-free. Enjoy the benefits of downtown with ease and prestige. Get your club card today by visiting www.365grandclub.com. That's 365grandclub.com. Get yours this week and join the club, the 365 Grand Club.
Hey, this is Megan, Cindy,
and Sammy,
and we are the Success Radio USA singers. Thank you for listening to Success Radio USA.
Success Radio USA.
By the mandate of my co-host, I cannot sing the Success Radio song, but what I can do is say, welcome back to Profiles of Success. I'm your host, Chuck Bader.
Thank you. I'm Jerry Evans. I love those ladies, but I don't love it when you sing after them. Okay,
It's this way to destroy the spirit of what's going on there.
Yeah, they sound great.
Yes,
believe me.
yes.
At least 1 out of 2. Thank you for joining us here on Profiles of Success. You can find us by going to our Facebook page, Success Radio USA, or by going to our website at successradio.us. We would invite you to register with us there for free, and you will get a free ebook download as our gift to you. So now that you are one of those who takes success seriously, like Chuck Bader, he really does, and I do too as well. Anyway, you can subscribe to Success Radio USA for only a few dollars a month and have total access to our show archives on demand. And our Success Library of ebooks, which are also free to our members. So make sure you do that. It's only $3.99 a month. That's less than $1 a week.
Less than $1 a week. And why would you want to do that? Well, because any library is what you're going to need to succeed. So with this, you now have access to our library shows for about 1.5 years. So when you're looking for somebody, if you're a librarian or a realtor or want to start a storage unit, whatever, you can look up those shows of those guests and tune in exactly how they did that. Or if you know somebody who started a business, who is one of our guests, you pull them up by name and listen to their show. And you're just looking for, how did they do this in the real world? Because you can go to all the seminars and they get you all hyped up and they do a good job on that. But when you're trying to figure out, okay, so you got to believe in yourself. You got to start the morning with a ritual. You got to keep yourself pumped up every day. All this generic stuff is good and it's important. But then when you say, well, I want to go from being a auto shop dealer to a realtor, how do I do that? What does the day-to-day steps on that look like? So we're going to pick that up right now again from Frank. So you had started off the business. You got 4 employees. You got this big building, big expenses coming up, no money except your parents.
Marketing director,
right. And so it took you years to become profitable from what you said.
Well, like anything else, making relationships is the key to any business.
Yes.
I had made some relationships. Don't ask me how. I can't even remember. But somehow or another, I made some wonderful relationships with car dealers, with banks that had repossessions and so forth. So, and I ended up working for the Palm Beach County Motor Vehicle Department, and did a lot of work with them. The Florida Highway Patrol, on and on and on. And so those relationships led me to bring in the business we needed to pay our bills.
And you obviously had to have done professional work, too, because they wouldn't have continued to go with you if you weren't doing that kind of work, right?
Well, yeah, actually, that's probably true, but I've just been always instilled in me this perfectionism, which I'm trying to, I like to say,
trying to not be so perfectionist?
I'm recovering from being a perfectionist.
Okay, did you take the 12 steps?
Yeah, I'm on step 3.
Well, speaking of 3 steps, let's talk about 3 elements you pointed out here that our listeners need to know. You're talking about 3 elements that got you started in business. Number 1, you're a very personable, friendly person. You make relationships easy. As Jeffrey Gitomer, sales trainer, points out, that all things being equal, people prefer to do business with their friends. All things not being equal, people prefer to do business with their friends. So the point is, just like Dale Carnegie talked about, how to win friends and influence people. That's one of the key foundations. The other 2 elements, like Jerry was pointing out here, are credibility and competence. So all of a sudden, Frank is great at building relationships. He can go up to Jerry, start a conversation, have you being best friends in about 10 minutes. But then when the guy says, well, okay, I want to sell you some cars, whatever the process is, You've got to have the competence to understand how that works, and that's a missing piece for a lot of business owners. And you've got to have the credibility. How can you prove that if you trust me with your business, I'm going to be able to deliver on my promises? So how did you develop the competence and credibility? I mean, you have the rapport skills.
Well, that's an interesting question.
That's why I ask it.
Again, I think it starts with the relationships, making relationships. That's what creates the business. And then, of course, like you pointed out, you can do the business, and if you don't do well, you're not going to get repeat business.
You get that bad reputation.
Every business in America needs that repeat business.
You're absolutely right, because a lot of times if you haven't done the work and satisfied the customer, then that customer may go out and tell, well, no, you don't want to go to Frank's place.
Exactly.
And so on and so forth. So it's not a good thing when you don't do the quality of work, because once you do that, then you get the recommendations, and then other people seek you out, and then your business continues to grow and you profit more. So
So that's the wholesale end, which is always really important to any business. But you've got the retail end, where you have the end user. And those are the folks that I was passionate about working for them, because I call my business Consumers Pain and Body, because I wanted to be a pain and body shop for the consumer. Someone who could come, trust me to do a great job, not overcharge them, and deliver on every promise.
So how long did you do all this?
I was in business for 4 years in Lake Worth, and I was back in an area where you have a lot of industry. It wasn't very visible, let's just say. And I realized that if I wanted to create more business with the end user, the consumer, I had to find a location where people will find me easily.
Is that big in real estate?
What is that? Location. I've heard that once or twice.
That's the hard way.
Three most important elements in business: location. That's right.
So after 4 years, and there's so many elements involved. I had a terrible landlord. It was a
lot of challenges you had to overcome.
It was a mess, but I was able to find a piece of property on US 1, which is the federal highway, and it happened to be a bank-owned property, and I was able to purchase it for a very good price. Again, because of my relationships. So I purchased that building, and the next 10 years I spent there. Now, here's the challenge. That new property was in Boynton Beach, which was roughly 20 miles away from Lake Worth. And you would think 20 miles is nothing. Well, it turns out 20 miles is a big deal. And I ended up having to start business all over again.
Making new contacts,
new customers. They like convenience. They like to go somewhere close by. This was a shock. I did not expect this. I had lots of loyal customers, yet they wouldn't, well, I shouldn't say all of them. Many of them wouldn't come the 20 miles to get to me. Thankfully for my wholesale business, it kept me going.
Did your employees go with you?
Oh, yes, of course.
Okay.
Nice.
All right. So at that point, did it take you a while to really get things back on your feet again?
Oh, yes. It was a struggle again. It was like starting all over again. I mean, I had a little bit better situation than I did the first time, obviously, but it still took a while to get it up and running.
So here's what we call a teaching moment. So in a situation like that, what Frank would have done had Profiles of Success been around at that time and back in his neighborhood, we would have told him to go to your local score office. Go to your local score office and talk to these people that, here, I've got a business, I'm looking to locate it. What are your tips and advice? Because they could have really let you know about that. Also, your local library, if they're as good as the one Terry Zarski's running, could have given you the data and the research for you to do all the work ahead of time to find out, 20 miles is going to be a hard obstacle to overcome. And then once you advance to that point, you go to your local Small Business Development Center, SBDC.org, to get even more free advice. And this is a great thing about this show, because you were probably not aware of those resources at the time because you're very, creative thinker and you just didn't know about them. They don't market well. There's not a big budget. But had you known about them, you could have made the appointments and they could have saved you a lot of frustration, a lot of heartache.
Well, I'll tell you the truth, Chuck. It's not that I didn't know about them, but at that age, I knew everything, as you understand.
Of course. Just like a teenager.
Absolutely.
In your 20s, is that right?
In my 20s, I knew everything.
Yeah, you did know everything.
20 going on 14.
I absolutely did. And so this is my caution to all the young folks out there who are starting a business, or even if you're older and you're starting a business, there's a lot of help out there.
Yes.
And they are happy to share with you. They are ecstatic.
Now, let's talk about something else. Let's say that you went to SCORE, you went to SBDC, you went to the library, picked up all the information you could. That's not where it ends. You could talk to other successful car dealer owners like that. And you're right. It's surprising. It surprises me how many people who are in the same business as I am, with whom I'm a competitor, are still willing to share their best secrets.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I inherited one other thing from my father. He was very, very stubborn. Again, I'm working on that. But I will tell you that it wasn't until my 30s that I realized my parents knew a thing or two about business.
So did you follow their example at that point?
Well, the revelation that they actually knew something was it was like a light bulb moment. And I started to listen to them for the first time in however many years I was in business at that point.
Because you thought just, your own personality, your work ethic, and everything else like that was going to take care of itself, and you'd be able to just develop business and no problems. But it doesn't always work that way, does it?
No, not at all. And unfortunately, because I was the first person in my family to go to higher education to get my 4-year degree, I was smarter than them. Right. They didn't have that. They didn't even have a regular school degree.
Oh, lesson for our listeners: didn't have to have the college education to be successful in business.
Yeah,
even when Junior had one.
Yeah.
So speaking of that, let's go ahead and talk about how people can get a hold of you if they have more information. What's a good phone number and email address that you can give out to our listeners?
Well, my phone number is 719-209-7458.
One more time so you can write it down.
719-209-7458.
And an email address is?
My email is my first and last name at Gmail. That's FrankWallmueller@gmail.com.
And Frank has also got a marketing book. What's the name of that book?
How to Sell Homes for Top Dollar.
There you go. That's a good one. So you make sure you get a hold of Frank to give more information if you've heard something on this show and it's like, but what about this? What about that? Where's the missing piece here? Call the man. Email the man. He's very, very friendly. He'll respond to you. Yeah. So, Jerry, what our listeners got to do right now? They got
to pull out a pen and paper and write down all these incredible addresses and phone numbers and whatnot, and listen to our advertisers because they're the ones that make this show possible. And we'll be right back.
Rena, how is a car like a computer?
I don't know. How?
If you don't do routine maintenance, they get gooped up and fail early. By performing routine maintenance, your system performance will be improved, keep it secure, and find issues while they were small.
Well, Elk Creek Computers will perform routine maintenance on your computers for $99 per system. Call us at 719-576-4122 to schedule an appointment today.
I'm Chuck Bader.
And this is Jerry Evans.
And you're invited to join us on Profiles of Success, where we feature stories of successful businesses and successful individuals.
You can find us on TuneIn Radio, SoundCloud, or Stitcher by searching Success Radio USA. Or go to our website at successradio.us.
Our current program is available every day, 2 p.m. Mountain Time, Monday through Friday. We air new programs on every Monday. These are programs which are designed to guide you along your path of success, to provide you with the information, the inspiration, and the motivation to achieve your goals. Right here on Profiles of Success on Success Radio USA. Success Radio USA is always looking for ways to help you succeed. Whether it's offering a word of encouragement or sharing practical information that can give you the competitive edge. So you'll want to pay close attention to this. Our new sponsor, the 365 Grand Club, can give you the edge when conducting business in downtown Colorado Springs. You might want to entertain a potential client or just show appreciation to a loyal business partner. Either way, your new 365 Grand Club card is your passport to downtown Colorado Springs. Your club card gives you access to discounts, business perks, making new business connections, and the convenient private concierge service that makes getting around town hassle-free. Enjoy the benefits of downtown with ease and prestige. Get your club card today by visiting www.365grandclub.com. That's 365grandclub.com. Get yours this week and join the club, the 365 Grand Club.
Programming produced by and for the Internet Broadcasting Network can be found on TuneIn. Be sure to take us with you by using the TuneIn app on all your mobile devices. This is the IB Network.
Success Radio USA.
Welcome back to Success Radio USA's Profiles of Success. I'm your host, Chuck Bader.
And I'm Jerry Evans. We want to thank all of you for joining us here on Profiles of Success. Remember that you can find us by going to our Facebook page, Success Radio USA, or by going to our website at successradio.us. We would invite you to register with us there for free, and you will get a free ebook download as our gift to you. And now that you are one of those who take success seriously, you can subscribe to Success Radio USA for only a few dollars a month.
Less than $1 a week at $3.99 per month.
And have total access to our show archives on demand and our Success Library of ebooks, which are also free to our members. Now remember, get signed up for that because that's really a worthwhile investment in your own future.
Well, and that's one of the things about it, too, is people go to seminars, they'll read the books, and they expect that event or that book to change their life. It's like, no. It's just the information.
That's exactly what it is. You're the one who has to pursue it.
Exactly. And this is the way it makes it easy for you. You've got the whole library of books by topic, by person. Boom, there you go. Pick it out. Learn about it.
I like that. That's good.
Well, that's where you start.
Library of books. I like that.
It is. Well, audio books, and you can listen on the go 24/7, 2 o'clock in the morning. Instead of watching the trash infomercials, listen to us. Put something good in your brain for a change, right?
Yeah. Aren't we wonderful?
And speaking of that, so Frank is talking about the fact that starts new business, obstacle after obstacle, defeat after defeat. And for years, it probably seems like you must have really wondered if you were disillusioning yourself or if you got in over your head or you had those days to where you just thought, you know what, is this a day I'm just going to throw in the towel and call it quits? So on those days, how did you overcome discouragement to keep on going, to keep moving forward, as we say on this show?
Yes.
How did you do that?
Well, that's a great question. It was 14 years that I owned that business, and I will tell you it was a struggle all of those 14 years.
Wow.
It was day to day, and I remember there was one year in particular where every day I went into work and I was losing $100 every day, and I did that for a year. That was tough, but I will tell you I was persistent because I believed in what we had to offer.
That's an important part, is to make sure you have something you can get behind and stand behind.
Right.
So on those days when you felt really bad, it's like, so you wake up today and it's like, wow, you know what? I've gotten over my head. This is too much. I can't do this anymore. I think I'm going to quit. How did you talk yourself out of quitting?
Well, I'll use a little analogy my father taught me. As I mentioned, he was a very hardworking man, and like every other human being, he gets sick occasionally. And when he would get sick, unless it was like where you're laid out flat, he would still go to work. He would still produce. He would still make an income.
That was my mom. She was just like that, too.
Yeah, because his philosophy was that I'm going to be sick anyway. I might as well make some money while I'm doing it.
That's exactly right, yeah.
So I use that analogy to make the point that, I knew I was losing money every day, but I had a vision, I had a mission, I had a plan. I just had to keep putting one foot in front of the other to make it there. I remember when my wife and I visited Mount Washington, and you get to the pinnacle and there's a cabin there, and then not 100 feet away there's a grave marker where someone almost made it, but not quite. And they gave up. And so that's really what it's all about. You can't give up. You got to keep pushing no matter what's going on. You just got to keep moving forward.
And one thing you talked about that I think helped drive you was that it's very important to understand that the brain can only hold one thought at a time. So it's very important for you to choose what type of thought you're going to allow. And let's go into a quick analogy. This has been varied over the years, but there's a great, what we credit a Native American philosophy on that. A grandson walks into a tent and sees the grandfather sitting there with a worried look on his face. Grandson says, "Hey, grandfather, what's going on?" He says, "Well, there's a battle going on in my mind. There are two wolves. One is a good wolf, one is a bad wolf. And if the bad wolf takes over, it's going to destroy me. If the good wolf takes over, we're going to have a better quality of life." And the grandson asks a simple question, "Well, which one is going to win?" And the grandfather replies, "The one that you feed." And so the food for these wolves in our mind of the good and bad is the thoughts that you choose to allow into your mind and the thought you choose not to allow into your mind. Mary Kay Ash was very deliberate. Anytime she had a negative thought, she would always say delete and replace it as quick as she could with a good thought. In your situation, when you could either think, "I'm losing $100 a day," and 1,000 other bad thoughts, you thought, "What is my vision? What is my focus? Where am I going to be going towards?" And that puts the more positive thoughts in your mind, which creates a more positive person people want to do business with. It's not a hard concept. So for you, it was that goal.
A strong sense of purpose, too.
So what about your sense of purpose? Let's talk about that.
Well, because I got into that business because I was watching how the former business I was involved in was treating their customers and the kind of quality that they were doing. And it was just not a good culture. So I wanted to create a culture that was unique to the body business, which people mostly have a bad impression of body shops.
Right.
And they hate to have to go there, and they feel like they're going to get money taken out of their pockets, that sort of thing. And I wanted to create an environment and a culture where people felt comfortable doing business with me, knowing they're going to get their money's worth.
And that's another great lesson, too. So many times in life, and this is where people get hung up, is they're in a bad situation and say, "I can't do anything about it." You chose to start a new business that would be a better model for people.
Well, in business school, they taught you to find a need and fill it. And that's what I was trying to do.
Absolutely. So from there, you obviously have left that. How did you branch into realty?
Okay. Well, that's an interesting story. So because I was a business owner, I was single, I didn't have any insurance, and I met my wife, and we got married, and she had a very good job, and I was able to get under her insurance plan. So I was well in my 30s, and I had one of my first physicals ever, and the doctor had told me that at the age of 38, I had the lungs of a 65-year-old man.
That'll wake you up.
Yeah, it certainly did. My wife was not happy about that news. So she told me that she wanted me to sell a business. So I went into work the next day, and it was first thing in the morning, and a gentleman popped his head. He didn't even come into my office. He just popped his head into the office and said, "Do you know anyone selling their body shop?"
Are you kidding?
Live attraction is alive and well.
Wow. Location. Yeah.
That's funny. Your wife called about that one.
Yeah. Your wife probably did do that. She probably sent him, right?
No, it was actually a divine appointment. So
there you go.
Yeah. So you have to back up a little bit. A year earlier, I did not have any spiritual connection to God at all. And since then I had come to know Jesus as my Savior, and through teachings I came to realize that my identity was not in my body shop, which it had been for many, many years.
Right.
But it was in my relationship with Him.
Yeah. Right.
And had that not occurred, I couldn't have sold my business because that would have been like selling my soul.
Wow.
And it was that interim of a year of training to identify myself with the right thing that I was able to actually sell my body shop.
Okay, so you sell the body shop, you go into the realty business, is just on a whim, or did somebody convince you?
No, because when we sold the body shop, we got some equity, so we were trying to figure out what to do. And I've always been handy, as I mentioned, so I had this passion to buy and sell homes. basically the modern vernacular is flip a home.
Okay. Now, were you doing that in Florida, and then so how did that get your route here to Colorado?
Oh boy, there's a lot of story in there. Okay, so I sold the body shop in around 2001, and I was looking to purchase a property through the courthouse steps. Some of the sales there. So I started going there every day, learning how to buy a property at the courthouse steps. And the real estate market at the time was not favorable for this. So I went, I kept going, and I finally had the nerve to bid on a property, but I set a limit, and I did, and of course it went over. And so I kept going, and in making relationships with various people there, I came to learn that there were several quote-unquote sharks there that didn't like newbies like myself getting involved, and they would make my life very difficult. So I kind of gave that up after about a year. And my wife and I were planning a trip to Plymouth, Massachusetts. So we did go, but all the while I was making relationships in our church body, people that owned real estate and understood real estate, and they were sharing things with me, one of which was location. Right. And so when we went to Plymouth, we looked around and we saw a property that we really liked and thought we were going to purchase. And we were going through the motions when it just fell apart naturally. And I think today that was a godsend, because that was quite a distance from where we lived in Florida.
So it kind of worked out then?
It sure did, yeah.
Is that when you made the decision to come to Colorado?
This is a long story.
We haven't got that long in the program.
It's digest version.
I'll give you the Reader's Digest. So we ended up going to Key West with some friends who wanted to start a church there, and we thought, okay, great, we'll buy property where half it'll be residential, half commercial. You own the residential end, we'll own the commercial end. So we were looking, we found a perfect piece of property, and when time to write a contract, they bailed on us, so we ended up purchasing that ourselves. Okay, so in the next few years, we were trying to purchase more real estate because we saw value in that. That's what I grew up learning, and we did so. But now we have to fast forward to about 3 years ago, where my daughter and husband, actually it was 4 years ago, where they learned that they were pregnant. So they were pregnant with my first granddaughter, Lucy, and it was great. We
named after Lucille Ball.
I wonder if there's a connection. So anyway, it was wonderful. We had moved into a condo at that point, and starting my real estate business all over again, because I moved 30 miles north of where I established a really strong business. But it was fine. It was worth it. So it was for the change of lifestyle.
Okay.
So we ended up, my daughter and husband got an invitation to go to work here in Colorado.
You followed them, right?
I had no choice.
Okay.
I'd like to wrap this up early. We're down to a couple minutes here, but we do want to point out some key lessons here is that you've got to be flexible. You've got to be open-minded. You don't necessarily have to know about business to get into business, but you have to know where to get the resources. SCORE, Small Business Development Center in your local library. And we talk about this all the time. A lot of people choose not to believe in God, but we see that God is a big part of any business, and He'll always be there to kind of lead you and open doors that you never expected.
That's exactly right.
So, that's very, very key elements about that.
Well, there's one thing you didn't mention is you have to determine in your own life what's important to you.
Exactly.
And pursue that.
Okay.
Because if you don't pursue that which you are passionate about, you're missing the boat.
And what you're passionate about, so many people miss that, but it's like, what naturally makes you happy? What is the thing that if you did it, people couldn't stop you from doing it because you enjoy it so much? There's your key for passion. Okay. Finding it's hard, but knowing what it looks like when you get there is important.
Yep.
Frank, we want to thank you very much for being on the program. It was excellent and quite a story, that's for sure.
Well, thanks for having me.
And to our listeners, again, we just want you to take away those lessons about, get into something, do something, just get started on this stuff. Don't wait till you're totally ready, but know where to find the resources, approach the resources, and apply what they implement to you. And we want to let you know, like Frank did, you may have 14 years of daily struggles like that, but you can't quit, which is what Frank talked about. So make sure that you go to your local library, your small business development center. YouTube videos are everywhere, and there's such great motivational videos I start my morning with every day, but you've got to make sure that you have the vision, the end goal, to pursue something that makes you happy, that can benefit other people. And when you do that, you want to make sure that every single day you do something, you do anything to make sure you keep moving forward.
You have been listening to Profiles of Success on Success Radio USA with Chuck Bader and Jerry Evans, brought to you in part by the 365 Grand Club, Colorado Springs' only elite urban downtown club. So start enjoying the benefits of downtown with ease and prestige. Get your club card today at 365grandclub.com. That's 365grandclub.com. God bless you all, and see you next week on Profiles of Success.
It gives clarity to problem solving. It increases production and focus on the job. It alleviates sleepless and restless nights and fends off stress and tension headaches. No, it's not the latest energy drink or health supplement. It's Legal Shield. Get peace of mind every day, every night, now and forever. Legal Shield. Get it.
To find out more about Legal Shield and how it can protect your family and your business, call Andrea at area code 719